On this episode of Take One, we'll take a look at several Idaho state laws no one is following. Plus, we sat down with the arbiter to discuss their latest featured article.
Later in the show, we'll explain why McDonald's has decided to enter the drug dealing business. We'll also hear from Leonard Berry about the Boise State sports highlights for the week. These stories and more up next on Take One.
Welcome to Take One. Thanks for joining us. I'm Trish Braun.
And I'm Harley Cope. A significant amount of students here at BSU come from out of state. If you're one of them, pay close attention because we're going to cover some Idaho laws that you definitely don't want to be unaware of. According to thefactfile.org, it is against the law for a man to give his beloved a box of sweets that weighs more than 50 pounds. Come next Valentine's Day, don't let that sneaky rule go unnoticed. It's also illegal for a person to fish while they are riding on the back of a camel. Make sure to leave your camels at home next time you go out on the St. Joe or Lake Lowell. If you live in Eagle, we want you to know that it is against the law to sweep dirt from your house into the street. And last but certainly not least, if you live in Pocatello, Idaho, know that it is illegal not to smile.
Recently, a Boise State MEPA organization held a rally at the Capitol steps in support of DACA. DACA stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. Its purpose is to protect eligible immigrants who came to the U.S. when they were children from deportation. As of March 2017, Idaho had at least 3,132 DACA recipients. 24 of these DACA recipients have been declared as students at BSU. Regardless that these students are Idaho residents, they have to pay out-of-state tuition and are not eligible for any government funds like FAFSA. For more information about DACA, make sure to stop by the Student Diversity Center to talk to the MEPA member.
At a time when the political climate in the United States is heavily split between the right and the left, political advertising is at an all-time high.
Eric Ryan sat down with Michelle Johnson of the Arbiter to discuss her latest feature article.
Thanks, guys. I'm Eric Ryan, and I'm joined in studio by Michelle Johnson. Her article about political advertising is featured in the latest edition of The Arbiter. Michelle, can you tell us a little bit about your article?
Yes, so this week I wrote about social media and political advertising. I'm touching on Mark Zuckerberg's policy, he's the CEO of Facebook, versus Jack Dorsey's latest announcement on Twitter for his policies on political advertising. So I go in depth with what those look like, the difference between the two, the misinformation that comes from Facebook, and then how it might impact the future election.
Can you talk a little bit about the difference in Facebook and Twitter's political advertising policies?
Yeah, of course. So recently, about a couple weeks ago, CEO Mark Zuckerberg was actually grilled on his decision to continue to let Facebook run basically whatever without being fact-checked. So you can basically post any type of advertising on Facebook as long as it's paid for. And then recently, Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, announced that he's completely banning political advertising from his social media. That rolls out November 22nd. There will be nothing towards, candidate advertising, anything of the sorts. So yeah, that's basically that.
Are there any recent examples of political advertising being used as propaganda on social media?
Yeah, so I actually talk about how in the 2016 election, Russia actually created a lot of propaganda pages that we wouldn't be able to identify because they create them more directed towards the language we understand. So maybe Americans for election, something like that. And I also touch on how to combat the decision for Mark Zuckerberg, how it's not the best decision. Senator Elizabeth Warren, actually ran a fake ad that basically blew up, and she was kind of her point to be hey, a lot of people believed this because it was coming from me. So even though it was fake, people believed it because it was coming from someone under the said paid for by Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, I saw that ad. It was very interesting.
Yeah, because she was talking about how Mark Zuckerberg endorsed Trump.
Kind of piggybacking off of that, what effect do you think that these social media political advertisements could have on future elections?
Yeah, it's a little early to tell whether or not the banning on Twitter will have a super large effect. I have some people who talk about how it definitely could affect it, depending on, maybe the younger generations like us. We do get a lot of our news and advertisements from social media, so it could definitely maybe impact us. So I think it's important that everyone gets multiple sources. They rely on not just Facebook news or their advertisements from Twitter or Instagram or wherever you get your news. Just make sure that you're fact checking. Even if you don't have a lot of time, it doesn't take a lot of time out to just make sure that maybe CNN posted something, go to a different outlet, see if it lines up and it's all the same.
Yeah, I think that's such a, I don't want to say hard thing, but I think we're so ingrained in the idea of just seeing something and then moving past it rather than checking a different source. And
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's very important, this topic. Thank you so much for coming, and back to you guys.
Now we'll toss it over to Leonard Berry for this week's Bronco Sports Highlights.
Thanks, Trish. The Bronco esports team started the weekend off in fantastic fashion, sweeping New Mexico in Rocket League, Overwatch, and League of Legends, while also advancing to the second round in the Upsurge Esports League of Legends tournament. This week, they will take on Utah State Friday evening in another Big Mountain West matchup. We'll kick things off at 5 p.m. on the 22nd of November, and you can watch in person at the Boise State Venture College or follow along at home on twitch.tv/Boise State University. Now, last Saturday was the final regular season home game for the Boise State football team as they hosted the New Mexico Lobos on senior night. Before the game, the Broncos honored their 17 seniors, including Jalen Henderson, who would get a chance to make his first ever BSU start. He was instantly relieved of any pressure on the very first play from scrimmage as another senior defensive tackle, Chase Hatada, forced a fumble that the Bronco defense scooped up and took to the house. Now, Henderson had the offense firing on all cylinders as the Broncos led 28-0 at the end of the very first quarter. He finished the day 15 for 28, racking up 292 yards through the air, tossing 3 touchdowns and 1 interception in a 42-9 BSU blowout victory. And heck, wide receiver Khalil Shakir even got in on the air raid as he threw a 2-yard shovel pass to Garrett Collingham for a touchdown. With the victory, the Broncos completed a perfect 6-0 season on the blue and now sit at 9-1 overall with a trip to Utah State in the cards this weekend, where a victory would clinch the Mountain Division for Boise State. Trish and Harley, back to you.
Boise has over a dozen mini art pieces throughout the city that don't go unnoticed. Sky McGeehee has more on the art in the streets of Boise.
To find local art in Boise, you don't have to go to the Boise Art Museum. All you have to do is just take a drive around town. My name is Sky McGeehee, and this is what to know about the Boise art scene. The program began in 2010 as a way to bring public arts to the streets, decrease graffiti, and increase the unique character of our city streets. There are currently 217 boxes in the collection, and they are comprised of a variety of different mediums, such as illustrations, paintings, digital arts, quilts, mosaics, and photographs. There's an interactive map to find all the traffic box art and other public artworks at boiseartsandhistory.org/explore/map. Among all these boxes, you may recognize Boise State faculty and students' artwork. This piece on Curtis Road and Cassius Street is from Boise State faculty member Aaron Cunningham. Any local artists were able to apply with the Boise City Department of Arts and History. The department is not currently accepting applications, but may again in the future. To check out the open opportunities such as Tree Fort Music Fest temporary public art, go to boiseartsandhistory.org/opportunities. I'm Sky McGeehee, and that's what to know about Boise's traffic box art.
Now over to Emma Richardson and Laramie Lavala for some recent news headlines.
During World War II, the Finnish were trying to regain territory from the Russians. To do so, they created Pervitin, a drug that would make soldiers stay awake longer. Amo Kuvanen used a full bottle in order to escape the Red Army. During his escape, he triggered a landmine that gave him serious injuries. He then traveled 250 miles in -20 degrees Celsius before being taken to a Finnish hospital. His heart rate was measured at 200 beats per minute and weight at 94 pounds. He lived to be 72.
A customer at McDonald's was in for the surprise of his life when he found 3 bags of weed in his iced tea. I honestly didn't peg iced tea for a ganjapreneur. Oh, iced tea, like the drink. I thought it said iced tea like the rapper. Anyway, apparently the customer did not notice the weed until he was, quote, high as a kite, end quote. The workers at McDonald's say they first noticed an issue when the customer walked up to them and kept saying, "Hi, welcome to McDonald's. How can I help you?" The man said he didn't enjoy his experience and didn't recognize the taste because he had never used marijuana before. He also made a point to mention that he paid regular price for his drink. Is this guy really complaining about paying full price? He does realize that he paid like $2 for almost $100 worth of weed, right? Well, like 85 in this economy.
Finals week is stressful for any student at Boise State. We have online scheduling. Joe Dyer guides us through the process.
Boise State is well known for its beautiful campus, but the time commitment of coming to classes on site might not be feasible for some. Luckily, there's an alternative. I'm Joe Dyer, and here's what to know about the online degree programs at Boise State. Boise State's online degree pathway offers a variety of degrees and certificates ranging from bachelor's to master's and even doctoral degrees. You can complete your individual program at your own pace, since Boise State's online program allows students to enroll either part-time or full-time. And if you're concerned about academic guidance, don't worry. Boise State's online program offers student success coaches and advisors to help you along the way. For more information on Boise State's online degree pathway, visit boisestate.edu/online. I'm Joe Dyer with What to Know at Boise State.
That's all the time we have today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Trish Braun.
And I'm Harley Cope. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Take One.